I have a part behind my back that's gonna make everyone watching the channel and everyone that has been following the build, it's gonna make all you guys smile. A ECU. Technically speaking, within 30 minutes, provided this is the only problem with the car, if it was the problem with the car, this thing will be running. Let's plug it in and see what's going on. If you have not been following the build, basically, I bought this car a while ago. When I bought it, the ECU was out of the car. And then when I first initially tried to start this thing months back, we were getting no crank signal. Now the car is completely rebuilt, everything's restored on it. It's a brand new car. Guess what? Still not getting a crank signal. And we traced it down to being the factory ECU. This guy here is not sending the ground signal to any of our sensors. The crank, the cam, the TPS, a whole slew of issues. Now, we do have different part numbers. MN191022 versus MN132874. Let's hope that does not affect anything. It is out of an 8, so it should work. Plug that guy in there. There's 4 plugins here. I hope this is the only issue with the car. Please, please, please be the only problem. Okay, so there's that. ECU's all plugged in. Now let's grab our laptop and load up ECU flash. See if we get any sort of cranking signal. Please. Please, please, please. Watch it start. We did it, boys. It was the ECU, in fact. Engine RPM, well, we could probably just watch on the cluster, actually. We cannot. Anyways, engine RPM, second one down. Reading as of right now, it's at 0. Issue is resolved, simple as that. Now what I do need to do is I need to go ahead and disable the immobilizer on that ECU, because of course that is now not going to match our immobilizer box. So I need, what do I need for the ECU flash? Let's just go ahead and load up the base map on this car right now. So of course my boy Josh Bader, BBR Tuned, is going to be tuning this thing for us. And he went ahead and sent over a base map. So I'm going to pull that base map. I'm going to go ahead and disable the immobilizer. We can get it loaded on the car. Thanks, Josh. Big Bird Startup Base Map is what he named the map. Hater. So here's our map. Now to disable the immobilizer, we're going to go to this. That is not correct. We're going to go to this. Immobilizer is already disabled. Perfect. Thanks, Josh. Let's get this little Jimmy loaded up on the car. Now this thing might sound funny to you. I need to put in one of the spark plugs. That's why it sounds like it has a dead cylinder, because one of the plugs is out. So fear not. Bam. Base map is loaded. Alright, I just plugged in the fuel pump stuff. Before we were not getting any sort of fuel pump signal either. And I'm assuming that was due to the ECU issue as well. Yep, fuel pump is now working. It just sounds a little funny because there ain't no fuel in it. Alrighty, let's pop this front bumper off. We got a intercooler pipe to install. We need to add some fuel into the fuel tank. Prime the fuel system, make sure we have fuel pressure, make sure we have no leaks, and fire it up. Now there's still a very large amount of cleanup that I need to do in this engine bay. So intercooler pipe is temporary, a lot of the wiring is still temporary. I just want to get the first start out of the way, make sure we have no more crazy issues, and then I can go through. There's a bunch of plugs on the wiring harness that we don't need, things like that. Just get everything cleaned up and ready to rock and roll. This plug right here, that is where our intake air temp sensor is gonna sit, because of course this thing is going speed density, no math. This here is a adapter harness, so this will plug into your factory MAF plug-in for your Evo 8 or DSM. And the other side goes right to the intake air temp sensor. I'm not really liking how this coupler is sitting, so this kit came with a straight. I ordered a 45, I think something like a 25 degree. From the throttle body to the piping is gonna be the best bet there. This will work for the first start. Let's go ahead and get our BOV installed. All right, this is it. Whew. I've had anxiousness and anxiety with builds before, but this is on a whole new level, man. So many hours into every little part on this thing. Thought I heard a leak for a sec. Of course, this here is just pump gas. I think this car is probably going to go just a dual map. Flex on 8s and 9s is a little bit more different than 10s. You can do it, but let's be honest. Flex is the way, or not flex. E85 is the way. And to go back to pump gas is super easy on this thing. Any of the cool cars, any of the built cars usually just stay on E85 all the time. But that's 5 gallons of pump. I'm gonna run through with a wrench before I crank the pump. Just try to catch any potential leaks before it's an actual leak, spraying fuel all over the engine in the bay. But everything appears tight. All right, we should be in the clear. Gotta go home and take a nap before this because I'm so freaking nervous. Let's do it. You ready? This is the first start. If you see anything, hear anything, smell anything besides your ass.
This is anxiety inducing.
Bro, I know. Usually I'll just knock out a first start.
Have you even cranked it or anything? Could you even get it to crank
Yeah,
before?
cranks. That's good. I did all my checks, son. Don't be tripping.
Oh, bud. Does it have an exhaust on it right now?
Yeah, it does. Ready?
I'm nervous, bro. This is crazy.
Well, for starters, make sure I'm not spraying fuel. Can you watch the fuel pressure gauge? Do you see it flopping around in the back of the bay?
Oh, yeah.
Is there any fuel pressure yet?
Yeah.
There is?
Yeah.
Any fuel leaks?
I'm not seeing anything. Give me a sec. Let me make sure there's nothing. No, nothing's spraying. You got fuel pressure. You got 30 psi fuel pressure.
Perfect.
All right. Well, yeah, I think you're good.
No leaks?
No fuel spraying anywhere that I see.
Okay.
Don't smell anything.
I'm gonna have to check for spark. All right. She should have fired by now. Let me scan codes. Make sure nothing stupid is going on.
What exhaust is on it?
Full ETS.
Is it gonna be super lopey?
It's got 272s. So
What was in the black 8?
272s.
I loved how that sounded.
She don't need much. It's not a freaking 2021 Civic. Coils, crank cam. It's damn near all she needs to fire. All right, I cranked the car a few times. She has yet to fire. I'm gonna scan the codes and make sure nothing obvious is going on, and then try again. If it don't fire again, I'll start checking for things like spark and shit like that. Bro, I'm nervous.
I'm nervous.
Especially being like a stroker where I had to clearance the whole freaking everything out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
One code, intake air temp. That ain't it. That ain't the problem.
She just ain't primed enough. Just gotta crank her some more. I think everything's plugged in.
All right. She's not even trying.
Yeah.
She got fuel pressure.
Yeah, 30,
So let's
25
check
PSI.
spark real quick. Definitely getting fuel. All right, you want to go cranker? You don't need to push in the clutch or anything.
Just a little.
I'll tell you when to stop. Go ahead. All right. No sparkies. So, I'm gonna check the fuse for the coils. So factory, it's supposed to be a 10 amp fuse for the coils. This had a 7.5, which is very clearly blown. And then when you do the coil unplug kit, you need to go from a 10 amp to I think a 15 or a 20 amp. Okay, so that should fix that. Let's check spark again. All right, good to go. Easy, easy.
Here we go. You said it's a turbo feed is leaking?
Well, not the return. It's not, it shouldn't leak too bad, but it's not a big deal.
All right.
Oh, here goes nothing. Oil pressure sender's not working, and I don't like that.
It sounds like it's no exhaust.
It is loud. I heard that. That was very loud.
But it's not like you had a fat leak or something. Is it even hooked up?
No, this is not.
It just sounds completely straight piped.
No, it's hooked up. It's fully there.
Bro, it sounds like all of the noise is coming from up here, though. It doesn't sound like anything's coming from the back.
Let me get this oil pressure gauge working. I should probably plug it in. That might help. It started, though.
Yeah, start right up.
Okay, hopefully that works. She needs some adjustment. It's dead rich.
Crazy.
There's no boost controller on it right now, so the waste gauge
It's
is
just
open.
wide open, yeah. Damn. Hell yeah.
Brap, 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 brap.
No leaks or anything.
She doesn't rattle. The crank
No.
ain't hitting the block. That's cool.
It sounds good.
Okay, well, it needs a boost controller. That's the main thing, because I can't really hear past the freaking wide open O2 dump.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I need to adjust the TPS too.
It's crazy that this is the same car that was sitting in the parking lot forever. I never thought the day would come.
Yeah.
Damn, what are you going to do with yourself? It's almost done.
I know, dude. Well, I got 2 weeks to get it done. I mean, I don't know why I have a timeline on when I need to get it done, but I do. Sick. That was easy. Well, friends, we did it. First start is knocked out of the park. Went very, very smoothly. Couple things to note, couple things to take care of. A small oil leak from the turbo return line, easy fix. That should be the only, so far that is the only oil leak on the car. We need to get our boost controller on. We need to get some heater core hoses on, get some water in this thing so we can actually truly run it. I didn't want any water in it or any sort of coolant until I get the first start done, just in case we had any other major crazy issues. So let's start with the boost controller. It came with this Apexy 3-port controller. Pretty much all 3 ports are the same. Unfortunately, the wiring plug-in does not work for the Evo. So I'm gonna go ahead and strip that off and slap on this nice little Deutsch connector. I don't want to mess with the map or the tune on the car at all until all these other little issues are fixed. Of course, a ton of exhaust coming right out the dump tube. That's going to throw off the wideband. Things like that. Very nice. I love these Deutsch connectors. Same concept here. I'll pop this. Oh, that is not the right one. This connector right here. Let's snip that off and get the male side of the Deutsch connector installed, and we should be good. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, the polarity of the wires does not matter. So it doesn't matter which wire goes to which wire on the EBCS. Either way, Works fine, kind of like an injector. I decided to mount the boost controller right down here. Still very easy to get to with wiring, and it's kind of hidden and out of the way. So that'll plug in there. Now we're gonna take these two ports right here. One's gonna go to the wastegate, and one is gonna run back to the compressor housing. We did have one more leak right here. All right, let's do another quick start, make sure all issues are fixed, and then we can knock out the cooling system. Why is that wastegate wide open? Well, I was thinking about it a little bit wrong. Well, completely backwards. With the boost controller off, the wastegate should be closed no matter what. I don't know why it's open. I may have to pull off the downpipe in the O2 housing to figure out what exactly is going on, because that's very peculiar, you could say. Before I go through all that trouble, I'm just gonna pop the arm off the, pop the wastegate arm off the wastegate flap and see if I see anything or feel anything weird. I'm gonna fire it up, manually close it. I don't know if I somehow spaced putting the divided gasket on. It's the only thing I can think of at this moment. It's almost as if there's not enough tension on that wastegate arm. If I manually close it, it's fine. I threaded in and shortened the wastegate arm just a touch, hopefully enough to put ample pressure on the wastegate flapper so it stays closed. Might have to go a little bit more, we'll see. Okay, that's definitely better, but it's still being forced open, so it needs a touch more pressure. All right, let's knock out the cooling system. So being that there's no hoses that run to the throttle body, we need to create a little loop in the system. So from the water pipe back to the cylinder head, the two ports that would typically run to the throttle body, the OEM throttle body, I'm just gonna loop that. We could cap it, but with caps, there's just nonstop pressure bouncing off that cap, and a lot of times they'll just explode. So a loop is the best option. And then we just need the two heater core hoses. One goes off the thermostat housing and the other off that coolant pipe, and they go back to, of course, the heater core. Cooling system should be completely looped and there shouldn't be any leaks. But just to confirm, I'm gonna start off with water. Well, I was certainly worried about this. You see that? That is a leaky freeze plug. Now that one itself is not a big deal, and it appears so far that is the only one that's leaking, but there is either one or two underneath the transmission that if those leak, the motor or the trans has to come back out. Let's pray that is not the case. That would be miserable. The turbo kit will have to come back off to fix that one for sure. But if that's the only problem we have with the car, that and the turbo return line leaking, if those are the only two issues, that's a pretty good success. One last thing I want to take care of before we go ahead and do some braking things is we need to set the TPS. So as of right now, throttle position is at 25.8. Yeah, we're a bit off. Very simple to adjust. We just need to loosen the TPS a bit and adjust it till it reads 13.3 on the data logger. Well, boys, let's get a true, not a cold start, but like a medium cold start for the boys. From the back, all the exhaust leaks are fixed. Very curious what this ETS sounds like. That is nice. It does sound like we have a little bit of a misfire. So before I do more engine braking stuff, I'm gonna see if I can figure out what's going on there. So what I did to figure out what cylinder it is I just one by one pulled off the injector plugs. Cylinder 1 is not firing. So it's either going to be a coil, a spark plug issue, injector issue, or of course, a dead cylinder issue. Brand new plugs, brand new coils, not brand new injectors, and it could also be an injector wiring issue. Let me do some diagnosing and I will update you guys with what the problem was. All right, so with my test light on battery ground, if I check all the other injectors, both wires have power. Injector 1 does not. So it appears we have an injector wiring issue. Now that might be a little stupid to get to, being that, of course, our injector wiring and all the wiring for the whole, all the sensors and injectors, everything, it's underneath the intake manifold. So this isn't gonna be all that fun, but it's gotta be done. This is the last issue to resolve before we can do some engine braking stuff. Of course, running a brand new motor with a misfire is not very ideal. So, of course, I want to get this taken care of as soon as possible. Where, oh where is the broken wire? Aha! Found it already. Why did that become unplugged? I would rather have it be this than a dead cylinder, that's for sure. Okay, let's try this again. Wiring is fixed. Should have been the last problem. Oh yeah. That is what I'm talking about, boys. Sheesh. All the freaking hard work, boys, finally paid off. Oil pressure's beautiful. Wow. It sounds so good. Wow. I'm appalled. I'm speechless. I just want to sit here and be happy that my car runs. It's funny how upset cars can make you and how happy cars can make you. It's like they just control your entire life. We only have 2 issues, 2 leaks, from what I can see so far. That front, thankfully on the front, the freeze plug, and to pull that, or to get that swapped, the turbo kit has to come off. While the turbo kit's off, that turbo return line's leaking a little bit out of one of the AN fittings. Swap that out as well. Maybe an hour and a half worth of fixes. And this thing is ready to rip, technically. I mean, we still got a ways to go. Clearly the interior is not complete. The exterior is not complete. The bay is not complete. But man, oh man. Just getting this first start out of the way, such a relief. Tuner.
Sorry, I've been underneath the car.
You're fine.
Yeah, that shit worked.
My shit runs titties, Josh.
Sorry, I just need to pull some fuel out.
Yeah, did you get the video I sent you?
I just caught the first glimpse of it before I called you.
Yeah, it's a touch rich. Well, I mean, it's 10-0s, but dude, it starts in like a millisecond. It's perfect, so.
Fuck yeah, that's easy. I can pull some fuel out and send it over to you.
Thank you, Josh.
No problem.
Goodbye. All right, guys, we got a new map on the car, and I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some braking stuff. So, cam braking, you want to vary the RPM from like 2 to 3K for 15-20 minutes. This thing sounds so good. All right, let's let this thing fully cool down, let her suck in some water, and then I'm gonna go through and get all the heights of fluid done. So we got the T-case, we got the transmission, and we got the rear diff. So what I'm gonna do there is I'm gonna fire it up, I'm gonna put it in gear, I'm gonna let her spin for quite a while, maybe, I don't know, a couple minutes, and then shut it off, let it cool down completely, and then I'll show you guys what I'm gonna do next. Hopefully our transmission works. Well, the hubs are spinning. It also does appear that our water leak has fixed itself. And I think the reason for that explanation, I guess the explanation for that I should say, is the expansion, the freeze plugs. Too much excitement today. Freeze plugs are brass, and of course they expand and contract a lot. So I'm assuming when this thing warmed up, it just expanded enough to where now it's not leaking. Whether or not that's going to give us problems in the future, I guess we'll just cross that road then. So this right here is considered the fill plug for the transmission. And being that we ran it through the gears and got all the oil sitting where it needs to sit, we're gonna pull this out and let it drain. So we're just gonna let that drain until it stops draining, and that's how we know it is at the proper level and the transmission is good to go. Same exact concept for the transfer case. And as you can see right here, that is our only leak. Actually, it does look like we have a tiny leak coming from the power steering pump. Now the plug for the rear diff that you want to pull out is this one up here. We were pretty close on that one, not too much coming out, but let's let her drain. Hopefully I don't need to pull the pump to figure out what's leaking, but I don't see what's leaking. So I might have to pull the pump to see what's leaking. Okay, I think I found it. I unfortunately most likely will have to pull the pump. That little bolt right there on the back side, it looks a little bit wet around it, and I'm assuming that's what's causing our leakage. Would make sense. Hello, Bobby. Hello, Bobby. Here, you can be like me. You want to hear something cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
What? It starts?
I don't know. This is the first start.
You're lying. You've started it before. I can tell by the puddle under it.
It's just water. I was washing it. Ready?
This is not the first start. Don't lie.
It is.
No, promise.
Tell me if it leaks anything. What do you think?
Pretty cool. She's ready to eat.
Sounds healthy and mint. Just listen to her.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Ooh.
Sheesh.
Now that's a clean cutoff.
Manifold's receiving color. That's what I keep burning my elbows on.
Okay. Holy crap. Honey, it sounds amazing.
Yep.
Immaculate work.
Thanks, guy.
Yep.
She needs a few touches.
Dang.
one small leak on the power steering. I do need to see if power steering works real quick before I
Okay.
pull the pump. Seems to work well. What?
You just want to hear it again.
I'm trying to figure out if my power steering works.
Yeah.
I am. You don't get it.
No, I do.
Hear that?
Shut it off.
You can reach through the window and kill it. What a crispy, cold.
Crispy cold cutoff.
Healthy though, huh?
Very healthy.
Does it make you want to build an Evo 8 with me?
No.
Oh.
Makes me want to ride in one with you though. Maybe makes me want to steal it.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure that's what's leaking.
Honey, please don't burn your face on that.
It's so hard to see the backside. Well, if that wasn't a very, very smooth sailing first start on a brand new build, then I don't know what is. Very simple, very smooth, and I'm very excited. Engine oil leak, power steering leak, and that's it. Those are the only issues we currently have with the build, which of course that's all simple stuff to fix. I know the build's not completely wrapped up yet, but man, just getting that first start out of the way and knowing that there's no major issues to take care of. No re-pull on the motor, no pull in the trans, no pull in the T-case, nothing like that. Maybe an hour of work tomorrow and we should have both the issues taken care of. And then all we really need for the car, some interior stuff to get back from carbon fiber, and a couple little things for the exterior. I mentioned I may have to respray the rear bumper. The rear diffuser section on the JDM rear bumper is a little bit funny looking, and I'm not the biggest fan of how that's looking. So with the rest of the car being, of course, as nice as it is, I want everything else to be as perfect as well. And then there's some more stuff that I need to get zinc plated or re-zinc plated because it didn't turn out quite like it should. So yeah, a couple more days, maybe another week or so. I don't know, 2 weeks maybe with the full cut and buff and ceramic coat on this thing, and this car is going to be 100% finished up. Slap her on the dyno, make probably low 600s on the dyno on E85, and that's a wrap, man. So this car is coming to an end, coming to a close, and I'm excited to enjoy it when this freaking weather clears up, because y'all know I ain't driving this thing in the rain or the snow. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Massive progress, and I'm excited. See you guys tomorrow.